I now give the floor to the Permanent Observer of the Observer State of Palestine.
Madam President, Council members, dear colleagues, we want to express our appreciation to Algeria, Guyana, and Slovenia for convening this important meeting today. And I want also to add to express our appreciation to the unanimous decision by the Arab group yesterday requesting through our representative, the ambassador of Algeria, to ask for this meeting and the two other countries, Guyana and Slovenia, for joining in this endeavor. I want also to thank the two briefers from OCHA and Save the Children, Mr. Raja Singham and Madam Sorepto, for their briefings. Madam President, allow me to address you today not only in your capacity as diplomats representing your states, but as parents and grandparents, as daughters and sons, as members of families that you love and cherish. Last night, a Palestinian father sat powerless by the bedside of his 2-month-old baby, watching him die slowly of hunger. After searching for hours and days for baby formula in northern Gaza to no avail. A mother had to leave her children in their home for their safety while she went out to try and find flour. She heard a loud bombardment as she reached the street's corner, rushed back with no flour, only to find her home destroyed and her kids killed. We speak of this terrifying assault against life in Gaza in days and months, 180 days, 6 months. But parents calculate in hours, agonize in minutes and seconds, and they wonder, how much longer will they have to wait? How much longer can they preserve shreds of life before them too? They are torn apart. To how many children will they have to bid an eternal farewell? Or how many children will they leave behind if they are to perish? Israel has destroyed the homes, killed entire families, displaced the entire population, demolished the hospitals, and made every effort to ensure no help could reach our people. It is killing those who heal, those who rescue, those who provide aid and relief, those who feed, those who report. Being a Palestinian is enough to be killed. Trying to help Palestinians like this brave woman and their organization is enough to be killed. You saw it over 2 weeks in a Shifa hospital, where Israel summarily executed people, arrested and tortured them, including the wounded and the sick and medical personnel, without feeling the need to provide much explanation or any evidence. It then burned down the most important hospital in the entire Gaza Strip, continuing to bring the health system to its knees at the time it is most needed to save lives. We present our deepest condolences to the families of medical personnel, of rescue teams members, and of over 200 aid workers who have been killed, and express our admiration to all the humanitarians who are pursuing their sacred mission at the peril of their lives. They should not be abandoned, but rather supported and protected. The killing of the aid workers from the World Central Kitchen is not an isolated incident. It is confirmation of what you all knew for months now. Israel is targeting those that the laws of war were established to protect. Israel knew very well who it was targeting, hitting 3 cars in 3 locations, despite the fact that they were identifiable and had coordinated with Israel the delivery of aid. It says it suspected 1 person, so it killed many. Never mind distinction, precautions, proportionality, protected status, never mind human decency. It is unfortunate that it took the killing of foreign nationals for some to fully acknowledge the fate reserved to Palestinians for 180 days now. As the World Central Kitchen CEO eloquently said, and I quote, "This is not only an attack against WCK, this is an attack on humanitarian organizations showing up in the most dire of situations where food is being used as a weapon of war. This is unforgivable," end of quotation. It is even more unforgivable that Israel, as occupying power, is the one with responsibility in ensuring that the civilian population is not harmed or starved, and instead it is not only inflicting such harm and starvation, but also killing those trying to alleviate them. For Israel, the entire civilian population and anyone helping them and the entire civilian infrastructure are legitimate targets. It's enough to call them, quote unquote, collateral damage, express grief, and move on to committing the next crime. Israel baselessly argued that the problem was in the organization delivering life-saving humanitarian assistance, UNRWA, whose role is fundamental and who is doing heroic work on the ground. Now, even the NGOs who have worked in the worst possible circumstances around the world are saying they cannot operate in Gaza because of the environment created by Israel. Madam President, Israel, while killing with its bombs and bullets over 32,000 Palestinians and maiming over 72,000 Palestinians, have also made sure to create a man-made famine, the worst of its kind, affecting over 2 million people, besieged and starved, with tons of assistance by a few kilometers away. Who can still speak of shared values with Israel that is committing such crimes without being devoured by shame? This council finally demanded an immediate ceasefire, leading to a lasting and sustainable ceasefire. Israel ignored this demand, Resolution 2728 must be implemented. It is the responsibility of this Council and all states to ensure that it is upheld. The ICJ ordered Israel twice in the last 2 months to undertake measures to prevent the real and imminent threat of genocide, including to take all necessary and effective measures to ensure without delay, in full cooperation with the United Nations, the unhindered provision at scale of urgently needed basic services and humanitarian assistance to Palestinians throughout Gaza. But Israel breached the order. The problem is not that the Council adopted resolutions or that the ICJ ordered provisional measures, or that humanity has elaborated the rules that led the UN bodies to adopt these positions and which should be observed. The problem is that Israel can violate these rules, demands, and orders in full impunity. No one should arm or shield those committing atrocities. No one, no country should arm or shield those committing atrocities. They must be held accountable, or these crimes will continue. Faced with such outrage for its attack on foreign nationals from the World Central Kitchen, Israel took its first measures, dismissing 2 senior officers and reprimanding 3 others. That is the punishment for the commission of war crimes? That is outrageous. And who will be held accountable for all the tens of thousands of Palestinian civilians killed? Is our lives not worthy of holding accountable those who murder us and kill us in large numbers? Madam President, history will remember that Israel continued to be present within these walls while trying to bring down the UN and the international law-based order this organization stands for, destroying and displacing an entire people and denying their right to existence and their state, unchecked and unhinged, while the state of Palestine, committed to the rule of international law and to the just and lasting peace, has yet to become a member of these United Nations. This is only one more injustice to which our people is being subjected to, one more contradiction between the clarity of the statements and the ambiguity of certain actions. There are no nuances, no ifs and buts, no justifications for what Israel is doing. None. Let me repeat. There are no nuances, no ifs and buts, no justification of what Israel is doing. None. And there is no justification for the continued denial of our right to self-determination and to freedom and dignity in our land. We knew, you all knew what was coming 6 months ago. We knew, and you knew, Israel would resort to mass and indiscriminate killing, to total destruction and devastation, and that the famine was on the way. This genocide was announced by Israeli leaders. It was perpetrated in broad daylight. It was displayed on your own screens. It was discussed in your meetings. Many of you were mobilized to stop it, but there are still tools that were not used, not even considered. One day, as for other genocides, a lot will be said about these failures. But we cannot wait. Action is needed now at every level with every means possible. I call on you, individually and collectively, to do more now, to figure out a way to stop these massacres and this meditated killing of children and women and men. I call on you to bring immediate relief to desperate parents who have witnessed what no parent should endure and children who have suffered what no children should suffer. For 260,000 minutes now, for 260,000 minutes now, our failures mean their death. That should be reason enough for us to do everything in our power to bring this tragedy to an end. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank the Permanent Observer of the Observer State of Palestine.